All right, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Richard Swain. The kids call me Coach Rich or Coach Swain. I am one of the leaders in the East Cary baseball uh, team here that support our East Cary middle school. This is my third year that's been associated with East Cary and club baseball and Wake County club baseball. Just to kind of, if you've not met me before, but I am a multi-year baseball coach. I've coached in other leagues such as the town of Cary, also with West Raleigh, and others. And I enjoy coaching. I enjoy baseball. I grew up playing baseball. Big Yankees fan, so I definitely want to give a big shout out to my Yankees that are going to win the World Series this year. So, if you've never met a Yankees fan, they always say that every year, but I think this year's going to be I got the feeling. I got the feeling. Um, my son Henry plays baseball as well, and he's enjoyed playing on the JV team for 2 years. And yeah, I see the go Mets there, Allison. Yeah, they're hot. They're doing well. They got the grimace, but he's looking forward to putting together a varsity team this year and competing at that. Um, I do want to start off by saying that this is a club sport. And it's a little bit different if you've not been associated with these before. Club sports are not affiliated with the school in the much as they don't offer any funding, any advertising, or anything other than we are allowed to use logos and call ourselves the East Cary baseball team. And that's about as far as it goes. Everything that we do, we have a non-for-profit set up. We have a board of directors, financing, fundraising. All of it is done on the club team itself. It is volunteers. Myself, all the coaches, parents, and everything all pitch in and help with the success of this program. Uh, it is a challenging program to put on. As you can imagine, we are constantly trying to make sure we're putting on quality coaching, quality teams, and make sure that we have instruction and things at this level. We are well aware that this is a club sport and an instructional sport where we can get some of these players up to speed and ready to play in their high school leagues either next year, 2 years, 3 years from now. To give you kind of an idea of the people that make up our teams, we have players that, of course, go to East Cary Middle School. They can be from sixth grade, seventh grade, or eighth grade. And we also have players that have East Cary as their base school, but they either are homeschooled or they go to a charter school or a private school who doesn't have a baseball team. And that allows us to pull in some of these players that, while they don't actually go to East Cary, they are somewhat associated with the program as that is their base school. Like I said, our players start in the sixth grade. Our JV team last year had both sixth and seventh graders. We did not have a varsity team last year due to a low turnout for the varsity program. Varsity is mainly eighth graders with maybe a supplement of a couple of seventh graders if the coaches see that is possible. And then they typically will practice together for at least for workouts and for the near future. And then as we get into the actual season, you'll start to see them kind of separate and go a little bit more of their separate ways as the varsity team does play on standard high school size field, 90-foot bases and everything, whereas the JV is a middle school field, so it's a bit smaller. Um, I will stop here and see if there's any questions yet that I can answer from you guys. And I try to keep this informal. We'll run through some of the other stuff as far as cost and everything here in a minute, but anything I said that you guys have any questions on? All right. So the 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 team is made up of sixth, seventh, and eighth graders. It is a club sport. We do fund the jerseys, the baseballs, the practice fields. All of the funding comes through a couple of ways. One, we do charge a fee for each player. There are scholarships available if you so need so, and it's confidential. We do have people that have donated for scholarships for that, and we have funding available for that. We also encourage fundraising. We've done a couple of fundraisers. We've done selling hot chocolate at the Cary Christmas parade that raises some money and so on. So we've done those in the past and have been able to keep our costs down. Typically, a club middle school team will have dues that will range anywhere from, I would probably say, from the 250 to $500. The amount of dues is typically depending on the resources that are available to the club team at zero or low cost. I was speaking to another administrator and coach who's having to pay $15,000 this year for baseball fields for practices and then everything. And so they were having to raise money and do things like that. So we're very fortunate. We have access to a baseball field that is not that far. It's about a 15-minute walk from the school. And we've been using that as our base to practice on, and it's worked out really well. The kids can walk up after school, bring their gloves and their bats and everything if they need to change beforehand, or they can do that. But that's been a real nice aspect of being close to a field for us, and it has kept our costs down. Typically, our costs are in the 250 to 300 range. This is enough to buy uniforms, a workout shirt. Um, it'll cover things like our baseballs, umpires, rental of games, fields for games, and so on. And we typically will have a few people that will donate extra money through that program or outside resources as well. But we do try to keep that in between that 250 to 300 range, and it's done pretty well. I think we've done pretty well last year as far as our cost and stuff. So um, the league is a spring season. We do start practices officially in January. Games will start in late, I believe, usually around that March, April timeframe, and then run through May. Um, and it usually is in coordination. We do have coordination with West Raleigh, and some of the travel leagues that tend to spin up a lot more later in the spring and early summer. We all understand that these guys have many places to play and schoolwork and other things, and we don't want to overburden anyone, but we do try to make sure that we have everyone available during that time frame. I see Coach Jason on as well. He can kind of give you a little bit more idea about some of our practices and how we run those, and do that here in a second. I will say that games are usually twice a week. except for one of the first games we have is a doubleheader. It's usually on a weekend, like a Saturday or Sunday. The varsity team will play on Monday and Wednesdays, and the JV team usually plays on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Of course, rainouts and field availability and all those great things when you're trying to schedule 20 some odd 25 middle schools into a league is pretty difficult. So those do get shuffled around, and we all know that that's kind of what we have to deal with. We mainly will play most of our games in Cary. We're very fortunate to have a field over at Thomas Brooks, and then over at Jason, what's the other field?
Little Creek.
Middle Creek. Middle Creek. There we go.
Yep.
Which is a little bit further away. Typically, if we can get out of school, a little before by 3, and get over there, game times are usually 4 o'clock. Warm ups at 3:30, so it's pretty tight for the earlier session games, but it is doable. I do want to introduce Jason. He's a coach. He's been associated with East Cary more than I have. I don't know how many years it is, Jason.
Oh, what has it been? 7 years now,
Seven
I think.
years.
Yeah.
And Coach, could you kind of maybe give these guys an idea of your mentality, what you like to see in the players and the teams, and maybe go through some of our practice stuff?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. A lot of you know me from last year. My name is Jason Burns. I have either been a head coach or assistant coach associated with both the JV and varsity teams. Like I mentioned to Rich, going back, wow, Timothy, my oldest, is a senior this year. So back when he was in sixth grade, right? Um, doesn't seem that long, Rich. But so my practices mirror what the kids are going to see when they get to high school, essentially. Um, Middle school kind of needs to be that kind of mentality. If you We tend to have 3 practices a week, right? We'll do for off season time, we'll stick with the 3. As we roll into January, we'll add a fourth on the weekends so we can start getting our pitchers catchers through the routine and get their arms warmed up. The biggest thing that myself and Rich and Coach Todd will tell you is we need to see hustle on and off the field on every play, right? This isn't I don't knock town baseball. My kids, even my oldest now, even though he plays baseball at Cary High for fun, he plays in the fall here for town of Cary. But that's kind of how town of Cary is. It's a little bit more laid back. This is legit. You're going to play middle school ball. Think of it like travel ball, but you don't actually travel, right? And It's tough, right? There are some really good teams around the county, and unfortunately, they get a better pick than we do. They get more kids coming out for baseball than we do. They're actually bigger. Some of those schools are bigger than ours, so they got more kids. Um, so we win by out hustling those teams, right? And that was our mentality last year, and it worked for us. We worked 2 years on those kids, and it turned out great. Coach Rich can attest to that, and Coach Todd can as well. Where we came from 2 years ago, where we was last year, was pretty amazing. Um, Next year will be a bigger step for these group of boys, right? As they I don't know, Rich, did you mention the 2 size fields and all that that
A
goes
little bit.
on with the
Yeah.
different digit? Yep. So, those boys that are moving up are going to play on that bigger field. And so they've got to adjust to that. That's partly why we really emphasize in the off season a lot of conditioning, not just what you get out of our practices. We kind of expect that to also continue on at home, right? We can only do so much in the practices we have. If you need assistance with helping how to get going on a conditioning regimen, we've got those. We can help you guys take at home, right? And for the younger groups, when I say conditioning, don't think we're gonna dump. We want you to take your kid to a weight room over here to Planet Fitness and dump them in the weight room. That probably shouldn't really happen until they're in eighth grade at a minimum, mainly ninth grade and on up, right? But they do They can do a lot of body weight training. They can do a lot of speed work, a lot of band work. And then part of it is just mentally building that toughness of, hey, if I make a mistake, I don't care. I'm going to play just as hard the next one, and I'm going to flush that and move on. Um, and we have fun. I think the boys last year we had fun in and outside of practice, right? I mean, we took some practices off. I'll bring a football, right, and we'll just have a game of kind of touch football towards the if the boys can earn it, right? They can do things like that. We took them down and had ice cream down there at the Dairy Queen to kind of celebrate how well they were doing, and so we don't forget about the fun piece of it because we want them to go out and have fun, but they need to go past the fundamentals of baseball on into what we call kind of the advanced skill set of baseball to really get going with the team. Um, so you know, way practices work, show up after school, like Rich said. We'll run till 5 or 5:30, depending on how dark it gets. And if you can't make it to every practice, that's fine. The only thing we do ask many times is you let us know you're not coming, so we don't lose a kid between East Cary and the ball field. We don't want a kid that was you was expecting to walk, your player expecting to walk there, and we're supposed to have them, and then you show up and we don't. Nobody knows where the player is, right? So if you could do that for us, we're great. But you're in good hands with Rich. He does a great job. He administering everything. If you have a lot of questions, he's the one to go to. If you have questions around coaching, typically it's me or you can go to Rich as well or Coach Todd. Um, but if you have questions, like I said, around the coaching styles or specifics about a practice, after this call, you're welcome to reach out to me. Rich can provide my contact information. You can call, text, email. I'm available. That's perfectly fine.
Great. Coach Jason, thank you so much. And if it's I doubt if you went around the league for Wake County that you would find another coach that had been associated with their team for 7 years. So we're very fortunate to have you, and very very lucky to have you for at least one more year. But I do think we'll be looking for coaching staff for the JV team, and we'll work together on getting the coaching teams for that as well, depending on the personnel that shows up for the JV teams. So we'll be working with that as well. I kind of want to open it up and see if we have any questions from anybody that's on.
Hey, Rich, it's Susie. I'm driving. Sorry, I just unmuted really quick if that's okay.
Yeah, no worries.
I just had a quick question just about practices. I love practicing at Lions. It's so convenient, but will there have to be any practices on a larger field size for varsity so they acclimate to the longer distances for their throws and pitching and whatnot?
Yeah, I'll comment on that, Rich, if you don't mind. Susie, I think so. I think we're gonna definitely for the varsity, like you said, we're gonna have to see if we can get those. I do know last year they did give us, right, Rich, the option to put our name down for different size fields.
Yeah,
And I don't remember where those was at. Was they all at Middle Creek or could we go to Thomas Brooks as well?
think we can go to Thomas Brooks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in those cases, Susie, we'll have a little bit of drive, right? Unfortunately we typically can't get like Bond 5 over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious. I mean, I'm not overly concerned. I just didn't, just trying to logistically start thinking about things like that.
Yep. Good question.
Yeah. And for the workouts and tryouts, we'll have them all there at Franklin Field just to keep it, fairly simple and for everyone to get stretched out and everything. And we've used temporary bases and things like that, but for workouts, we're just trying to get people, that maybe haven't played in, a couple of months or, haven't thrown the ball and just trying to get them stretched out, see what's going on and then working into our tryout program.
Yeah, the beauty of that field right there is while it does look like you couldn't put a 60-90 field on there, technically can, right? The town came in and actually fixed some of the lip and droppage on the second base component, which helps us because if we do the 60-90 there with our temporary bases, second base tends to bleed out in the grass a little bit, but the corners stay close. And so while it doesn't look like you're playing on the right size field, you actually are. So running doesn't change, right? They still got to hustle, cover that distance.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Hey guys, I got a quick question. This is Mike. I was having technical difficulties, didn't get on till about probably 15 after. I was curious. I saw it's being recorded. Are we going to have access to watch what you guys talked about earlier?
Absolutely, Mike.
Awesome.
We'll post this on East Cary Baseball,
Okay,
and
perfect.
there'll be a link up there. If you follow us on social media, you'll see the links and everything being posted out so that you can get it. You may not have seen, and I probably will emphasize this again, but in the chat window is our sign up link, and that is really how we get your information to kind of start sending you out when workouts are and practices and stuff. So we use a program called Team Snap. That's been our way of communicating out to parents and players on when things are, and then they're able to mark your availability based off of that. So if you would go ahead and sign up and get that in there. But yeah, we'll post this. We'll get this up and uploaded and ready for everyone to see.
Okay. And you met in this chat to this conversation, there's the link?
Yes, sir. Do you?
Okay.
I can post it again, I think, just to
Yeah, I
be.
think because I joined late, I don't see it. Thanks, Rich.
Yep. Lucas has a question. Is there a workout on Monday even though there is no school? Yes. So we will have workouts depending independent of school schedule. We typically will try to work in practices and everything depending on timing and weather. Unfortunately, we can't have a one-to-one matchup there. We really have to kind of get where we can. And if you haven't heard, but field space in Cary is very hard to get. And so if we plan these things kind of far ahead, months ahead. So we try to get and maximize our time on the field as possible. So yeah, but good question. Any other questions? All right, Miss Allison, about how many games are played per season? Let's see. We
We get
well,
14. It's 14 for JV
and
typically,
yep,
and what is it, like 18
I think
for
it's
varsity?
18. I was going to say it's less than 20, but yeah, it's around
Yeah.
18.
And then there's the
Yeah.
playoffs at the end. Yeah.
So it's about the actual games is about 2 months, if you will.
Yep.
It is what you can kind of gain for it. There's usually a week off for the Easter week, spring break, that we won't have games on. But outside of that, it's going to be every week. You'll have a game or two.
Yeah, I think they do a good job of trying to align to the Wake County traditional calendar. If they're off, there's usually not a game scheduled.
Absolutely. Great. Well, if there's no other questions, I am going to wrap this up.
Can I put in a plug real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
One of the things that Rich and I will get periodically, guys, and we'll try to share with you is upcoming baseball camps and things that you're interested in. There actually happens to be one from Cary High. They've got two camps coming up. I think it's October the 19th and November the 16th. The information I know we posted out on our Facebook page, and but we'll share those with you guys as they come. I would encourage you, um, if you feel like your player needs some extra work, those camps are always really good. Diamond and Aces does camps as well. Rich is pretty good about sharing that. He's in the past, he's done a good job at that. You'll get the local high schools will do things, Athens Drive, Panther Creek, Green Hope, all those. I'd encourage you to go at the very least, especially if your child happens to feed into one of those schools, or you're thinking about when they get to high school of going to one of those schools, see if they got camp, right? Because at the very least, you get to see the coaching staff at those camps. We know many of those coaches as well, so if you have questions about them, come and talk to us. But yeah, my shameless plug is the camp's coming up. Please go sign up, and I think you'll enjoy them. The kids we sent from East Cary last spring, was it last spring or last summer? Anyhow, they
Yep.
had a good time, right? They really enjoyed themselves.
Yep. Yeah, I did put the flyer there in the chat if you haven't
Oh,
seen it,
thanks.
and
Yep,
and you guys can take that a look. All right. Well, if you do have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us. We both Jason and I, we monitor the Facebook page for East Cary baseball, and you can email us. My email is richardswainnc@gmail.com. Jason, if you want to give out your email as well.
yeah. So it's just Jason Burns 522 at gmail.com.
And please feel free to give us a holler and ask any questions that you guys have. We look forward to seeing everybody out on the field next week.
For sure. Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, everybody. Take
Yeah,
care.
Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.